Hello and welcome to this short introduction and overview of big data management. A little bit of context. Organizations are struggling to keep up with the extreme volume and extreme variety of data that is now available to them for new forms of analytics. And what they've found is that traditional data platforms like legacy data warehouses can be too expensive to keep up with this extremely explosive data growth. We've seen surveys that show that organizations are facing up to 40%, sometimes even higher growth rates in the amount of data that is available to them for analysis. And this is precisely where Apache Hadoop has become a really interesting new data platform for storing and computing very, very large volumes of data to generate new forms of insights. So just a quick definition of what is Hadoop for those of you who aren't familiar with Hadoop. Hadoop is basically a new and emerging data platform for storing any type of data, not just restricted to the kind of more rigorously defined and tabular relational data that data warehouses were known for, but really storing and processing any type of data. And this can be very, very helpful to drive new forms of innovation and digital disruption from data-driven insights. Unlike data warehouses that had this very, very strict model for how data should be structured and very, very strict ways in which the data could be processed, Hadoop enables a tremendous amount of flexibility at very, very low cost. And this is a tremendous opportunity for organizations to be able to process types of data or also just become more efficient at processing existing forms of data. But just as was the case in traditional data warehousing environments, we are now seeing many, many critical data management concerns with the Hadoop area as well. So some of the feedback that we've heard from our customers include, for example, around productivity, wanting to leverage existing development resources, development communities that you may have that are familiar with tools like Informatica, to be able to apply those existing skill sets to new domains such as Hadoop. Number two is around reusability. It's one thing to be able to develop a project using Hadoop one time through some sort of heroic effort, but that may not be sustainable. So how can you make the code reusable? How can you make it easy to maintain? And how can you ensure that even as skill sets change, as technologies change, that there is some degree of repeatability in the environment? Number three is around trust. It's making sure that the environment and the data that's there, that you can actually have confidence in it. Is there high data integrity? Is there high data accuracy and high data timeliness? Without some of these elements of confidence, the data that gets thrown into Hadoop can quickly sort of become a data swamp, as they say, filled with data that you can't really, really trust. And finally, number four is transparency. On one hand, it's powerful to be able to have so much data of a variety of formats stored in one single place, but now you actually have to understand what the data even is before you can use it. You need ways to bridge information silos, to bring data into one place, and to really understand what it is that's there before you can apply it and use it for very, very innovative use cases. This is precisely where big data management comes in. Informatica's big data management product is a next generation data integration solution that leverages the scalability, performance, efficiency of the Hadoop platform. Effectively, it's very similar to PowerCenter. It's a no-code visual development environment that can dramatically increase development productivity compared to manual kind of hand coding methods. But beyond productivity, it's also the benefit of using a repeatable and reusable where you're doing all of your development in a graphical environment that's focused on business logic, not focused on implementation details. This has benefits not only in accelerating the initial deployment of new projects, but also in terms of ongoing maintenance and upgradability as well. There are a number of unique features that Informatica offers that are very, very compelling, very, very different from what is offered in the market. Things like dynamic mappings and templates enable you to build processes once, but actually apply them across different data sources and different types of different data models. That itself adds an additional layer of development productivity. We also offer a number of pre-built components in the package so that you're able to connect to a variety of data sources and also be able to leverage a lot of the best practices of other organizations right out of the box. And we've also optimized the execution of all these processes across a number of different technologies that are in the market, all the way from classic MapReduce to some of the more emerging technologies like Apache Spark. And we continue to optimize these engines and leverage the best of some of the open source technologies that are in the market. And we have a tremendous amount of flexibility in the deployment because we do partner with all the major Hadoop vendors, both on-premise and in the cloud. So fundamentally what this does is it enables organizations to be entirely future-proofed against changes in the underlying infrastructure and really let them focus on what is most important to them around the business logic. Fundamentally, why customers come to Informatica for our solutions, specifically around big data, are a couple of reasons. One, we are the industry leader. You can see this through some of our analyst reports. A lot of this has come precisely for some of the reasons that I mentioned before. We do have a more enterprise model of having a complete solution that eliminates a lot of the manual effort. This is appealing to a lot of large organizations that simply don't have the resources or want to take on the risk of having to maintain code by themselves. Number two is that we do have a holistic solution that fundamentally lowers complexity by providing all of these capabilities out of the box and by offering it in the context of a broader solution. We can actually eliminate a lot of the complexity and cost that organizations face when they're using less holistic solutions. Number three, we do have an enterprise sales and support model that's very, very unique in the industry as well. There are a lot of other organizations who tend to rely on a do-it-yourself approach, which puts a lot of risk and a lot of time on the customer environment. Informatica's approach gives you out-of-the-box solutions combined with experts both in the pre-sales and post-sales processes to help you make sure that you are as successful as possible. And finally, without getting too in the details of the product, we actually embed a lot of very unique machine learning type technologies, which can help fundamentally change the model of how organizations use our technology, where there's increased automation and increased intelligence that enables end users. Our big data management solution is part of a comprehensive enterprise platform that we offer for big data. This includes everything from ingesting and streaming data, all the way from raw data sources to being able to integrate and enrich them in Hadoop as well as other environments, being able to prepare it on a self-service basis, being able to govern it and catalog to ensure that it meets compliance and internal controls, to offering security, and then ultimately delivering to end target systems. This comprehensive approach to big data management, ultimately, and data lake management is what enables Informatica to provide a very, very simple and very, very holistic solution to organizations. For more information about Informatica's big data solutions, do visit www.informatica.com/bigdata, where you can learn about more how Informatica helps organizations unleash the disruptive power of data.